train.
My name is Dalton, and this is my story. It all started when my friends dared me to stay in an abandoned haunted train. When I got there, I said goodbye to my friends and walked to the train. It was freezing. I'm lucky I brought my thermal coat, otherwise I would have got frostbite. So when I got to the train, I found a perfect room to sleep in for the night, and I laid down for 20 minutes and fell asleep. I woke up to the sound of screaming and windows being broken. I jumped out of bed and looked out to the hallway, and to my disbelief, I saw a ghostly man looking through all the train cabs for something or someone. Just then, we locked eyes. He came running after me at full speed. I just stood there, terrified out of my mind.
Oh, you're an
idiot.
He
touched me. At that point, I woke up and realized it was all a nightmare. I decided to not sleep that night. So I went on my phone, and 10 minutes later, I heard screaming again and windows being broken. I looked out to the hallway to make sure that man wasn't there.
No way.
But he was. I thought to myself, did I see into the future? But I didn't waste any time thinking. I grabbed all my things and climbed out a broken window to escape. I called my friends to pick me up and tell them what happened. As I looked back, the man was staring at me. Then he disappeared. Did I just imagine that man, or was it a ghost? But no matter what, I will never forget that man's cold and lifeless face as he stared at me with his creepy smile.
Yeah, nah.
A few days ago, I was with my girlfriend and ended up coming home late. Since I wanted to finish something on my game development project, I lost track of time and went to sleep around 3 a.m. So anyways, I fell asleep. Later that night, I had a dream that resembled my school breaks, but it was in a train, bus-ish thing. At breaks, I used to patrol around school and see a bunch of people and say hi, laugh with them, annoy them, and just energetic social shit. So after messing around with my friends in my dream, I went to sit on a train chair. When I started bending over the chair, suddenly I saw an old lady figure. She looked
the same train?
I don't know how to explain it, kind of like the old lady from the comic Bone, but a messed up, skinny version of her. She moved in my direction while moving her hands in big, weird circles. And suddenly I felt a hand holding my wrist really hard. I got scared.
Okay, buddy, you gotta stop just sitting here letting people grab you or things grab you. You gotta react. Like, you see something coming towards you and it's unfamiliar. Just be like, yo, chill out, okay? We'll just stand there and let it happen.
While the holding started to be more painful. Then I realized it was a dream and tried to wake up. I managed to wake up about a minute after. I woke up while my wrist was in heavy pain. I looked at the clock to check the time. It was 8 in the morning, and my eyes were still blurry. I got my phone to check if my girlfriend sent me a message. Nope, only a message from my mom. Since she usually texts me recipes, I decided to check later. I went back to sleep and woke up a few hours later. I opened my phone and checked the message from my mom. Hi, we didn't want to interrupt you this morning. Grandma just died. I was totally shocked. I didn't tell anyone but my girlfriend about it. It's such a weird feeling.
The hypnotherapist.
I had been suffering from severe anthropophobia for almost 10 years. I didn't even remember the last time I stepped out of my room. I just avoided people like I was avoiding shit. My mom used to say my gravestone would read, "Does anybody know me?" So one day, I finally made up my mind to receive hypnotherapy. Searching on the internet, I found a hypnotherapist and visited his house. I didn't know then it was the door to hell. The hypnotherapist welcomed me with a big grin, which looked like he was stretching his mouth side to side rather than smiling. The pupils of his eyes were as dark as the inky blackness itself, and it felt like his eyes were about to suck my soul.
Nah, that's when you fake a phone call. I gotta reschedule.
There were a lot of pictures hung on the wall along the entryway. In the pictures, he was hypnotizing. However, the expressions of those being under hypnosis looked weird.
They looked
Their
more
mouths were
than happy.
ridiculously wide open, and their eyes were rolled
Too
back.
happy.
I couldn't figure out whether they were laughing or screaming. Above the pictures, it was written, "Once you walk into John's paradise, you can't walk away." John was the name of this hypnotherapist. I was a bit leery of walking into the office.
I was about to say, didn't you find that concerning? You
At
can't
that
walk
moment,
away.
I heard the voice.
Not you wouldn't want
Come
to walk
and lie
away.
down on
You
the
can't.
sofa.
Even
That
if you
voice
wanted
made me
to.
unconsciously go to the sofa and lie down on it. Close your eyes. You are going to lose all your strength. As soon as I heard his voice, all my strength faded away in a moment. I just laid there thinking, is this really hypnosis? And I began to get scared. You see an emerald green sea and hear the sound of seagulls.
A
You
green
feel the warm
sea.
sunshine with a pleasant breeze touching your cheeks. There are beautiful women enjoying a beach party around you and all kinds of delicacies. How do you feel? Immediately with his words, the picturesque scenery of a beach appeared right in front of my eyes. And it felt like I was really there. I couldn't help but smile and exclaim in spite of myself. This is paradise! This
You
time
happy
he
about?
said. However, the gravity of this beach is 50 times greater than that of the Earth. Now your body is going to be drawn deep into the ground by the massive gravity. Then, it felt like my whole body was being trampled by a giant rock. Somebody help me! I struggled to get
Hyperbolic
out,
time
but my
chamber?
body didn't move at all.
Let me out, you bastard son of Satan!
I cursed him frantically in terror. A little later,
This is in your
it
head,
became
right?
like even my mouth and tongue were completely restrained by the gravity. I could barely utter a groan. Then, he whispered in my ear. Want me to make it heavier, or will you just shut up? I got quiet quick. From now on, you just do as you're ordered. You understand? Welcome to John's paradise. I felt my tears rolling
Where'd the
down
women
my
go?
cheeks. From that day, I enjoyed pleasure all day long in his fake paradise. I had the finest foods, lobster, steak, caviar, and other fancy stuff, all which tasted exactly the same as the real things. And I enjoyed a party with beautiful girls. I felt really good.
The whole
Even
time you
happy.
just laying on the couch.
At night, I fell asleep and dreamt of flying through the sky all day. But soon, I heard his voice saying, "Open your eyes." My eyes suddenly opened wide. It was morning. I saw him grinning right in front of my face.
Yeah, you've been
His
there for
face made me
days.
mad and I was about to throw a punch. But at that moment, he said, 50 times gravity. And on that word, my body was pulled back and got thrown to the bed. I couldn't even move a finger. I was extremely furious and wanted to cuss him out, but the words were just running through my mind. I couldn't move my lips. I just kept shedding tears. Lightly shaking his head, he said, "You still try to resist. You have to clear your mind. Now, no thought is allowed to exist in your brain." As soon as he said that, every single thought in my mind was just
Blank.
gone. I couldn't think or feel anything. I just became calm, peaceful. From that point on, I became his prisoner and slave. After a few days, a man came in. He was big and burly. He came to receive therapy for his depression. I had no idea how much time had passed. John called me in, and I saw the guy stiffly lying on the sofa with his eyes frantically rolling. John then
Gravity.
ordered me to bring an axe. I was scared, but my body picked up the axe regardless of my will, automatically reacting to his voice. "Look at the guy's flesh. It would make the most tender and flavorful steak. Go and bite it off. You will taste the best meat ever." Suddenly,
Bite
the
it off.
guy
What was
lying
the
down
axe
began
for?
to look like a chunk of meat, and I became filled with a strong desire
Two
to taste
sausages
it.
and a slab of ham.
I could almost feel the taste of juicy steak, and my mouth began to water. The lying guy struggled to come out of hypnosis. His eyes were bloodshot as if they were almost going to burst. The blood vessels of his whole body swelled, and his body was trembling violently. As he couldn't speak, he groaned like an animal. And John, this time, told the guy pointing at me, "He's sneering at you. You know why you're suffering from depression? Because of him. Punish him, and your depression will be cured." Then, the guy stood up
Fight
and
to the death.
immediately rushed at me. He threw a punch at me, and his fist broke my facial bone and teeth. If I was who I used to be,
Facial bone,
I
just
would
say
have ran away
nose.
or given in to him right away, not fighting against him. But in that moment, he seemed like a delicious chunk of meat, and that's it. I swung the axe and we violently fought like wild animals in the savannah. Luckily, my axe was plunged into his neck, and he
Luckily?
collapsed with blood splurting out of it. Enraptured as if I slaughtered a cow, I was about to take a bite of his flesh. At that moment, John's jubilant shout hit my eardrums.
Whoa!
It sounded like
What?
a primitive tribe shouting for joy after their great success in hunting. He danced around in excitement, and soon shivered. He shouted out loud,
Life and death are under my control!
On his shout, I suddenly came back to my senses, and I realized what I had done. Then,
You pissed
I
yourself?
wet myself standing there.
That's crazy.
Frowning at me, he shouted,
Hey, Mr. Champion, do not excrete without my permission.
He sent me to the toilet. When I came back, the dead body disappeared. Since then, I had been sick in bed for a week and barely came back from the dead. After some time, while I was lying on the bed, the police rushed in.
About time somebody
John
noticed
was
you've
already
been missing.
involved in a number of murder and missing persons cases. The police searched the entire house and found some bloodstains and evidence here and there, but they couldn't find John. Although they kept asking me who messed up my face like that, I stayed lying in bed in silence, just staring at the ceiling.
Is hypnosis
At
a
that
valid
moment, a voice came
defense?
from somewhere.
Welcome to John's Paradise.
Close your eyes. You are standing on a beach, enjoying the warm and nice sunshine. When two of the police were about to close their eyes, the remaining one shouted.
Open your eyes! Don't be fooled!
John's voice was still coming out of the speaker
Genjutsu.
mounted on the wall. You are losing all your strength. Listen carefully to the sound of waves and seagulls on the beach. It's perfectly peaceful. The speaker was sending the sound of waves as well together with his voice. Finally, with their eyes half closed and legs turning to jelly, they began to stagger wobbly from side to side.
Open your fucking eyes! This is not a beach! Son of a bitch!
They kept swearing. John's voice from the speaker
Why is he
continued.
immune?
This is the paradise. Clear your mind for just this moment. Lie on the beach and get some sweet rest. His slow and gentle voice made them lie on the floor one by one. A few minutes later, all of them lay around on the floor, with smiles on their faces. Their faces and postures looked absolutely relaxed. At that moment, I heard the sound of trampling feet. Stepping towards them, John said, Now all of you are under deep hypnosis. What you have to do is only to obey my orders.
What about the one
All
guy?
right? Open your eyes. You have water guns in your hands.
Oh, nah.
Now, it's time to have some fun with your friends. Then, they picked up their handguns with naive smiles. John said, On the count of 3, you will shoot each other with your water guns. It will be so much fun. 3, 2, 1. BAM! With his shout, they
He
shot
wasn't
their
under
guns at
hypnosis,
each
though.
other and their blood splattered everywhere, and they all collapsed. I trembled with fear and began to lose my breath. John told me with a generous smile, Do not be scared, child.
Me?
I'm just saving people from this filthy world. Then, he left that house, bringing me along with him. For several months since then, we wandered around various places and continued to lure and hypnotize people. And I had another 5 fights. In my second fight, I lost some of my toes. And in the fourth fight, my ears were torn. In the fifth fight, my enemy poked out my left eyeball and ate it up. In every fight, I was nearly on the verge of death. But fortunately, I survived anyway. But my body was totally ravaged by continued fights, and I became unfightable. So, John sent me to jail in place of him. I told the police that I was under hypnosis, but of course they didn't believe me.
Yes, I was asking. Is that a
And
valid
John is still
defense?
at large. But I am happy now in prison. Although I am behind bars, I finally got out of his control and regained my freedom. Now I can control my body as I want. When I open my eyes every morning, I shout loudly, shedding tears of joy.
I'm alive! I'm alive!
I know he's still out there continuing to do his awful deeds,
Where'd you get another
but I
eye?
don't know anyone who can stop him. If there's anybody who's going to try to catch him,
Got some
I
continuity
will
errors.
warn you. As soon as you face him, your soul will be possessed by him, and you will never get it back.
You got yours back. That's crazy. We're gonna end it there for that. Alright. I don't know. The hypnosis one was definitely something. First thing, I don't know how that last cop got hypnotized because he wasn't hypnotized with the other two, and then he brought out the water pistols, and all of a sudden he was. I don't know.